Hello. If you have logged into here, your student is in Mrs. Hatch's Integrated 2 class. I have 5 of those. This is my class middle page. It's one of the areas where my students can find materials whenever they need it. That is a picture of me smiling. I had a nice t-shirt in honor of Coach Jay, who retired last year. Below that is a picture of a beautiful family, and the woman in pink is Mrs. Abate, and she is a co-teacher in periods 2 and 3. So your students can have help from me, and they can also have help from Mrs. Abate. On the Moodle page are a variety of things. You'll notice that we have links to the Google Classroom, which we will do next. I have communication methods, what I would like students to do. I would like them to sign up for Remind 101, which is part of one of the first homework assignments. And parents, of course, you should email me, and I will email you through Aries. I have office hours on Fridays during a regular week from 8:30 to 9:30, as well as from 11 to 12. Students will use the Google Chat. They'll just click right on here to enter a little chat space, and they can ask me questions. If students need more assistance than that will provide, I can always set up a Zoom with them individually. The Zoom links for each class period are right here. The code is here. That will change on occasion for security reasons, but students can find the Zoom either here as well as the Google Classroom. A current unit calendar. This calendar is, if you click on this calendar, I'm not going to do it right now, it shows the entire unit, and it covers all items up till September 22nd. Sometimes students need paper versions of work. By the way, you're seeing my view of Moodle, which is different than what would be yours. So you can see what I've hidden from students. You wouldn't see that. But if you click on this first thing, it's the first homework I'm going to give that's math related. Those assignments are through an online forum called Quizzes, but if a student needs paper to write out the problems and do the math that way, they can print these up first and get the work prepared so they don't feel as much anxiety while online. As well, this is where you can find extra Khan Academy videos that I think are very helpful. I think Khan Academy does a good job teaching content, and if a student needs more than what I've provided, this is a good place. Every test will be taken through this section called Assessments, and that is it from Moodle. If I go back up here, the links to the Google Classroom are here. I'm going to go ahead to Google Period 1. On the front page of the Google Classroom are announcements. You'll just notice here's a posting I just put up here regarding this week. We're going back to school after being shut down due to the fires, and students can find that kind of information here, announcements and important information. Most of the area they'll be using is in the classwork section, where they'll find classwork. At the very top are things I've provided up to this point. But down here, the current module, this is where they'll see their learning. There is a weekly calendar here. If people click on that, that provides what's going to happen on the Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday block class periods. Anything with an asterisk should be accomplished during class. That's important. If a student's absent and they want to know what they should make up, they should go to the weekly calendar and look for the asterisks and do those things because they have to get caught up that way. I will only be giving one homework assignment per week, and that assignment is always a quizzes. It's assigned usually on Thursdays if it's a normal week, and it's due the Monday following. And I think that's it for the classwork. If we go back and back again to Moodle, I would like to show you my syllabus. There's a need to know syllabus, which has a lot more descriptions, but we're going to look at the visual syllabus to give you an idea of how I will grade my class. This is very concise. Here we go. All right, first thing to note, a typical class period. Students will check in with me through the Zoom. I would prefer their video be on at the very beginning when I take attendance, but that is the only time. Some students can't use video because of their internet. We understand that, but most of my students have been successful so far. We will participate in introduction, maybe a warm-up that relates to a previous lesson, maybe an introduction to the new things, but ultimately, They will then be sent away from the Zoom to do an ed puzzle. Normally, it will be two of them. The first one is for learning. The second one is for practicing the new content. We will have a return time already designated, and students have to come back to the Zoom or turn their video back on at that time. And then we can involve ourselves in a lesson together as a class. And that could be me just checking for understanding. It could be playing a Kahoot to check for understanding. If I feel like the students know the material well, it might be extension problems. If this material seems very challenging, it might be more review problems and explanations. But the last part of the class, normally the last 30 minutes, will be us within the Zoom answering individual and group questions. If a student has trouble, there's an SOS section on my syllabus. It describes when I have office hours and talks about emailing me, of course. And then the other idea, if a student struggles on a test, there will be 4 assessments in the semester. They may retake 2 of them in the week after the initial test is given. I will go into more detail when we have our first test, but just as a parent, you should know that retakes will be available 2 out of the 4 tests involved in my class. Google Classroom, I showed you that. This is the Moodle page where I'm accessing the syllabus. And of course, please use Aries to check what your students are doing and how they're doing. Grading, 60% of the grade will be assessments. 20% will be one homework assignment per week, and 20% will be what we do within the classroom. And that includes completing the ed puzzles and any other activities we have within class. As a motivation, I prefer students do the homework assignment as soon after I assign it on the Thursday of the week, because that's when students still remember the math. So if a student completes that assignment by midnight on Friday, they can earn 1% added to their test for that unit. And every time someone has a test that's a unit test in my class, they will have had an opportunity for 5% added to that test before we've even taken it. Just doing the homework on the Friday, which has office hours built within it, students can be rewarded. I will close out this syllabus. For my class, the materials students need, they need a notebook, a blank notebook. Please make it separate from all other subjects. As they work through the ed puzzles where the content's provided, they need to write down definitions. They need to put diagrams down. Anything they know they won't remember or they need to look back on need to be in that notebook. We don't have a textbook, right? We're not sitting with a textbook next to us. So this notebook is what they'll be using. As obviously, calculator, pencil, scratch paper for practice problems. If they have a small whiteboard, that might be helpful. When it's something they don't have to turn in, but they're just practicing, they might want to be able to use a dry erase marker and an eraser and not waste paper. Just a suggestion. As far as tips, my biggest tip to anyone involved with math is please do your math in an environment that's the same as when you're going to test. A lot of times students will have too many things that are fun for them, i.e. music and or other screens on, that kind of thing. But during a test, that's not really what's ideal. And if we return to school, knock on wood, I hope we do, they won't be allowed those things in the classroom. So it's important that they practice doing math in an environment similar to a test situation. A lot of times the anxiety students fear during a test is not just about the content, but it tends to be a new environment that they haven't been practicing within. I hope to meet all of you very soon. If you have any questions beyond what I've covered, please feel free to email me. Thank you.